Human rights, our daily necessity. In this period of turbulence and unpredictability, where many feel a growing sense of insecurity, disaffection, and alienation, the theme of Human Rights Day is to reaffirm the values of human rights and show that they remain a winning proposition for humanity. Through this campaign, we aim to re-engage people with human rights by showing how they shape our daily lives, often in ways we may not always notice. Too often taken for granted or seen as abstract ideas, human rights are the essentials we rely on every day. By bridging the gap between human rights principles and everyday experiences, we aim to spark awareness, inspire confidence, and encourage collective action. The campaign emphasizes that human rights are positive, essential, and attainable. Human rights are positive. They not only protect, they also bring joy, happiness, and safety into daily life. Human rights are lived realities. They are in the food we eat, the air we breathe, the words we speak, the opportunities we pursue, or the protections that keep us safe. Human rights are essential. They are the essentials we all share, the common ground that unites us across differences of race, gender, belief, or background. In a world of uncertainty, human rights remain our everyday constants. When everything feels unstable, your right to safety, to speak freely, and to participate in decisions that affect us, become the bedrock of our lives. Human rights are attainable. They begin with us, with the small, everyday choices we make, from treating others with respect, speaking up against unfairness, and listening to those whose voices are often ignored. Everyday choices and voices matter more than you may realize. They build a culture of dignity and fairness around us. But human rights also depend on collective action, when communities, movements, and nations come together to demand justice and equality. Human Rights Day and the Universal Declaration of Human Rights. Human Rights Day is observed annually around the world on the 10th of December. It commemorates the anniversary of one of the world's most groundbreaking global pledges, the Universal Declaration of Human Rights, UDHR. This landmark document enshrines the inalienable rights that everyone is entitled to as a human being, regardless of race, color, religion, sex, language, political or other opinion, national or social origin, property, birth, or other status. The declaration was proclaimed by the United Nations General Assembly in Paris on the 10th of December, 1948, and sets out, for the first time, fundamental human rights to be universally protected. As a common standard of achievement for all peoples and all nations, the UDHR is a global blueprint for international, national, and local laws and policies, and a bedrock of the 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development. Every day, in every corner of the world, human rights make our lives, our freedom, and our dignity possible. On this Human Rights Day, our international organization reaffirms that rights are not abstract concepts, they are an everyday necessity. In 2025, humanity faces challenges that test the validity of human rights. Expanding armed conflicts, democratic backsliding, deepening structural inequalities, technologies advancing faster than regulations, climate and humanitarian crises, hate speech, and systemic discrimination. In this context, we affirm that protecting human rights is the most effective mechanism for ensuring peace, justice, and social cohesion. Sustainable development is impossible with exclusion, violence, or discrimination. Human rights in everyday life. Human rights are exercised, defended, and needed every day. When a person has access to healthcare, education, decent work, or adequate housing. When a community demands transparency and participation. When a woman, a person with a disability, a migrant, or a young person demands equality and non-discrimination. When freedom of expression, press, and association enable open societies. When justice protects victims, not perpetrators. When technology respects privacy, autonomy, and human dignity. The true strength of human rights lies in their everyday reality, in how they transform people's lives. Human rights in everyday life. The right to study, to work with dignity, to express oneself without fear, to access healthcare, to live without discrimination, these are all what sustain our lives every day. In a world marked by humanitarian crises, inequality, climate impacts, and technologies that are transforming society, strengthening human rights is more urgent than ever. Human rights in everyday life. Rights are lived in everyday life, at school, in the hospital, at work, at home, in the digital space, and in the community. When a right is violated, human dignity suffers. That is why we must especially protect those who face discrimination, exclusion, or violence. The role of the state. States have an obligation to guarantee rights every day. With an independent judiciary, effective public policies, and protection from abuses. The role of the private sector. The private sector directly impacts our lives. Its responsibility for human rights is an inescapable duty. The power of civil society. Civil society is the heart of change. Its voice, its vigilance, and its commitment strengthen democracy and protect dignity. Technology must serve people. AI, data, and digital platforms must respect freedom, privacy, and equality. Human rights and the future. Social progress is only possible when human dignity is at the center of all public and private decisions. Today we make a global call. Protecting human rights is not an option, it is everyone's responsibility. Every day. Everywhere. Human rights are the foundation of a dignified life. They are our present and our future. They are our daily necessity. Final declaration. On this Human Rights Day 2025, we reaffirm that human rights are not a luxury or symbolic rhetoric. They are an essential necessity for life, coexistence, and the future. We call for urgent global action so that every person, institution, and state places human rights at the heart of their decisions. Because when human rights are respected every day, humanity advances, peace is strengthened, and progress becomes inclusive and sustainable. Human rights are today, tomorrow, and always our compass, our responsibility, and our daily necessity. Our international organization reaffirms its commitment to the dignity, justice, and human rights of all people. Together, we are building a more just future. A future where human rights are an everyday reality for everyone.